All right, let's speak now to Tobie Openshaw, who is a South African living in Taiwan. Tobie, thank you so much for your time. And this, the biggest earthquake in 25 years. I wonder, what's the latest on the ground where you are?
Well, so here in Taipei, things are actually pretty normal and calm. There's no real major issues here. But in the east coast of Hualien, that area where most people have been injured or killed, the numbers at the moment I have is 9 people dead, over 1,000 injured, and there's also still 140 something people injured. I was here in 1999 for the what they call the 921 earthquake. This one was definitely not nearly as bad. That one was really strong. But here it started, as a general shake. We get them a lot here. We're used to it already. But then it just got more intense and more intense, until we finally realized, okay, well, this one is pretty real, So it was really shaking pretty badly here. But I'm really hoping, and we're seeing that the rescue workers are doing a fantastic job down south.
And I'm going to talk about the rescue efforts in just a moment, but let's stay with, just the latest developments in terms of the people on the ground. I know you say that where you are, things are pretty normal, but how shaken are people about what has happened?
Well, I think, as I said, Taiwan has earthquakes all the time. So for the general population, they're pretty calm about it, and they can see, okay, everybody's got their own scale for how bad is this one. And everybody recognizes this is a pretty bad one, but they can see everything's okay. But newcomers, I know, I've heard of people who were like running, screaming out of their rooms because this was their first time they've had a major earthquake. So we've had some of that, yeah.
And I suppose then, given the fact that, this is not an unusual occurrence, as you say, rescue, officials have things under control, possibly?
Taiwan's rescue services, I can only say the best things about them. I was working on a site in 2016 where a building fell over and over 300 people were trapped. And the rescue workers did a fantastic job. Unfortunately, we have to say it's because they get so much practice here, because there's a lot of earthquakes and typhoons and disasters here. But yes, no, I have every faith that Taiwan's rescue workers, and from what I've seen too, they're very methodical. They go in and they don't do any more damage, but they always make sure they get everybody out.
Tobie, take us back to, that moment in September in 1999, where, of course, we saw about 2,600 people being killed, and you were in the country at the time.
Right. So I was on the 12th floor of an apartment building at the time, and we were woken up in the middle of the night by this shaking, which got really intense. Our bed actually moved away from the wall about a meter, and we literally had to hold on to the bed not to be shaken off, and you could hear the building groaning, the steel sort of groaning within the building. So that was very scary. And we had to wake the kids up. They were still sleeping, they slept through it. But we had to sort of wait between aftershocks to get them down the stairwell and out into the street. And that time we spent a night in the car, and we drove around the next day because it was kind of dangerous to go back.
Let's talk about then, finally, this area of Hualien that has now been hit. What is it like? Can you describe it for us?
Right. So Hualien is on the east coast of Taiwan. It's a fairly steep cliff side almost that goes down into the water, and that area is right on what we call the Pacific Ring of Fire. So it's right on that spot is where the one plate digs in underneath the other one. So Hualien gets thousands of earthquakes a year. They're usually just below being able to be felt. But I think 25 years after the previous one, it was about time for a readjustment of the pressures there, and we've been tracking the smaller earthquake getting smaller and smaller, but coming more inland as well in that area. So that's definitely on the fault. And so I mean, it's a beautiful town. It's a beautiful place to visit. It's got a little bit of stretch of beach, not white sands like we know in South Africa, but sort of more black sands. But it's a lovely town. But the residents of Taiwan, are very resilient, and so they're coping with this very well.
All right, Tobie, I know you say it's not an unusual occurrence, but please do stay safe. Thank you so much for giving us an update here on the show. I appreciate it that it was Tobie Openshaw, a South African living in Taiwan.